On today's episode, we're going to be tearing apart the Euro-American EA SA F.T. Now this is a single action clone made in Italy. For this disassembly, we're going to need a hammer, a small punch, or something to act as a punch, a narrow-headed screwdriver, and a bench block. One thing I want to go over before we get into the disassembly, I want to talk about the cylinder freezing up on this gun. I want to explain to you why that happens. Now, when you go to manipulate the hammer, you're going to hear your first click. That's your trigger setting. Your next click is half cock. Now, once in half cock is when you load, unload, all that good stuff with the cylinder. You can also check the next click. You're going to hear that's the bolt engaging this cylinder. See, this cylinder won't turn now. And then the next two clicks is the hammer setting all the way to full cock. Now what's happening is people are trying to bring their gun into half cock and the cylinder freezes up on them. What's actually happening is they're pulling it back too far to there. See, the gun, it appears to be in half cock, but the bolt has somewhat engaged. The cylinder can't turn free. And if I go to turn the cylinder like I would if I think this thing is in half cock, it's going to lock up. Now I can't do anything. It's completely frozen. I got two options. I can either get a thin piece of metal and push that bolt down underneath here, or I can simply remove the cylinder pin, open the loading gate, take it out the cylinder, and it operates freely. Alright, now I want to show you the happenings with that cylinder in. Alright, so our first click is going to engage our trigger. Second click, it's going to drop the bolt and bring it to half cock. Now when it's in half cock, it's kind of a safety. Can't engage, you can't pull the trigger. Nothing happens. Then we're going to bring it back to our third click, which is going to re-engage the bolt. And that's just a timing issue. Most of the guns I've seen like this do that. I don't know of any that don't. If yours don't, let me know in the comments below. We go to full cock. So if you find yourself in a situation and your bolt is jumping early, go a little slower on your half cock. Count to the second click. Once the second click happens, you're in half cock. You're ready to go. If you don't know if you brought it to half cock, just start over again. That's all you got to do. So 1, 2, second click. All right, let's jump right into the disassembly. All right, the first tool you're going to need, flathead screwdriver. You're going to use that to remove the screw in the grip. Terrible aim right there. Alright, once you get that all the way out, remove it. Set those grips to the side. Alright. The next thing we're going to remove is the cylinder and the base pin. Push in the base pin lock. Open your loading gate. Slide the cylinder out. That works better when it's in half cock like it is now. Alright, next thing you're going to remove is these 5 pins, or these 5 screws, sorry. And for that, you're going to need a Phillips head. Now, I know, I'm the perfect video maker. I never forget anything. Maybe this one time. Alright, so we're going to remove the bottom 3 first, because this thing's under spring pressure from that main spring, and it's stronger on the back of the back strap is the lower part. You want to make sure your screwdriver is small enough and narrow enough to fit down in those channels. Set those to the side. Now these screws have different heads. The front one has a wider flat head, and that head is more of a cylinder shape and it's narrower. So make sure you put those right back in the right order. Now we're going to move to the back. Move to the back. I like to alternate so it's not putting more pressure on one side than the other for an extended period of time, because this strap is aluminum and can be bent out of shape. That one released. That one released. Alright, now you're going to see a plunger and a spring drop out. And that's the spring and plunger to your loading gate. Loading gate, slide it forward. You can see that channel right there that spring and plunger work off of, giving it the pressure it needs to stay closed. Set those to the side. Now you can move to your two screws here. The back screw is holding the hammer and pawl. The front screw is holding the bolt, the trigger. Oh, real quick before I remove that, it's getting ahead of myself here. I'm going to remove that screw right there. Now that's a finger spring. It provides spring pressure for the trigger and the bolt. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. Set that to the side. And keep those two together. Now you got access to the inside here. Alright, now let's move on and remove these two screws. As I say over and over in my videos, if the screw is tight, don't just go turning on it. You're going to slip and you're going to start stripping screws out. That makes for an ugly gun. Come out there. Alright, set that to the side. Now we can pull this this hammer out. Now the hammer's not just going to come straight out. That pawl has a spring in the back of it. So pull straight down, it'll come out. Now you can see that pawl. And that spring is what is providing the forward pressure every time you pull the hammer back. Now you'll see that manipulates up, cams up. All right, let's go ahead and take out the trigger screw. Got the right screwdriver. Alright, this slides out. You'll notice that this screw has a flat spot here before the thread starts. The flat spot is the spot where the hammer, or the trigger, I'm sorry, the trigger rides on. Right there, like that. Here's your bolt. See how it's not solid down here? It's just a folded piece of metal turned into a spring. Now, it operates off that notch you see right here. It cams it. It catches it, pulls it down, and it'll slide past it. Alright, now we're going to move on to the safety. To remove the safety, take a screwdriver, trim that out of there. It pops out of there. Now, did you see that ball fall out? It's a detent ball. There's a spring right here behind it. Now, normally, it can't move far enough for that detent to come out. See those two detent holes? That's what makes your safety steady, not just fall all over the place. There's a spring in there. Spring pops out. Little short guy. Hold on to that ball. It's easy to lose. You can't just replace it with a BB. Alright, now we are going to move on to the base pin catch. For that, you're going to need 2 screwdrivers. Okay, see, it's got a slot for 2 screwdrivers. You're just going to put one in on one side, maybe, okay, then the other side. And you're going to turn it. Now this is under spring pressure. Turn it so you can see here. It's under spring pressure, so be prepared. Hear the thunder outside. We're getting a good storm here tonight in Kentucky. Alright, that slides out. And it's going to slide out the other side. Put that back together so you don't lose that. Now we're going to remove the ejector tube. Now it's going to be a flathead screwdriver. And it just turns right off there. See it pop forward? It's under spring pressure. Don't lose that spring. It's kind of sitting in a notch there, so it'll pull. Okay, next we're going to remove the barrel. Now as you're hammering, you want to check to make sure you're not marring up the surface of the gun. And that's going to drive right out the other side, just like that. Alright, I can set that to the side over here. Now the barrel's ready to come out. Remove the barrel, just simply work it back and forth, and it slides out. See that channel there? That's what that barrel pin sets in. That's all that locks it in place. Aluminum and a little bit of metal. Alright, now this receiver is almost completely stripped, with the exception of the sight and the firing pin and the recoil block. You see that round discolored shape in there? Right there around the firing pin. That's a piece of metal sitting in there. And this pin right here is what's holding it in. And that comes out the front. I'm not going to remove that because frankly it's a bear to remove. That's going to do it for this disassembly. If you've got any questions or comments, be sure to leave them below. As always, stay safe. Keep shooting, America. Wait. Don't click off this video. Before I go, I want you to go check out my friends over at firearmsadvertising.com. If you have a firearms business or a YouTube channel, anything gun related or weapons related, you can go list it there for free. You can gain exposure and traffic to your channel, and maybe even some sponsors. So go check it out, firearmsadvertising.com. And this is not a paid ad. I just really support what those guys are doing over there. So go check it out.
Full beard manly.